Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I usually use my watercolor pencils. And I've chose this book, Nordiska Väsen, by Johan Egerkrans, since it has paper that's really good for watercolor. And I apologize for the noise in the background. That's just the 3D printer that is running. So I'm going to start with painting. Oh, sorry, bumped into. I'm going to start with this sketch of Havsfrun, which is sort of like a guardian of the sea. The sea is her domain and she is in charge of it. And what I'm using for material for this when I use my watercolor pencils are, of course, watercolor pencils. I also use a bit of water. I use my brush, which is actually it's the tip. I don't know if you can see it, but the material that the brush is made of is of raccoon dog, and the reason why I use something with natural hair as a brush instead of synthetic is because I think this really absorbs the water well, and I have no idea if the animal is hurt in the process. I hope not. Otherwise I should probably check into that. And I also use a bit of paper towel to, just in case I get too much water or I get too much pigment on my brush from the watercolor, I just dip it a bit onto the paper towel. And sometimes I use my hand like this, but that's the material that I use. And I see some people that are using they are dipping the brush into water and then sort of, I don't know, dab the pen and use it to color like that. But that's not the technique I'm used to, and I really like using it. I'm just going to show you how I like to use my watercolor pencils. So I would start with the pencil I show, the color that I want, and I sort of make it hard. Sort of make it stronger where I want the strong pigment to be, and then I just go lighter into the middle where I want it to be a lighter color. Since she is sort of a fish, and fishes have their stomach is a bit lighter, sometimes whiter than it is on the sides and on the back. I'm trying to make it look more like a fish. So as you can see, I'm getting much rougher on the sides, and then I just go lighter and lighter as farther in I get, until not all the way, but I sort of try to get that gradient effect right away. And when I think I have enough pigment on the paper, I just go in with my brush, get a little bit of water, some water, dip it a little bit on myself, and then I just start with the lighter edges just to get that more gradient effect. Now this is a really strong pigment than my other watercolor pencils, but I'm trying to work my way from the lightest to the darkest. I don't know if you noticed, but the water in this brush, because it's made of natural hair, it keeps absorb much more water than synthetic. Haven't really found a synthetic brush that I like yet, so I just keep using this one. So now when I go from the side that has a bit stronger pigment, I just dip my water, make sure that there's no pigment on the brush when I try to make a smoother transition. What I really like about watercolor pencils is that I think I get more control with watercolor pencils than I do with other types of pencils, and I'm not so used to watercolor, like plain watercolor. When I use the watercolor pencils, I think I get much more control over the gradient and the blending. So now I'm just gonna let it dry for a bit, and some people have like a blower or a dryer that they use to can dry the paint out, but I just have to blow it, so trying to feel if it's wet. Now, since she has scales, there are always it's going to be some sort of shade on the scales. So I'm going in with my watercolor pencil again, and I try to make some shades. And that way we can do it with both a wet and a dry mix. And that's why I feel I have a bit more control with the watercolor pencils, since you can choose if you want it to be a wet medium or a dry medium. I don't know if you can see any difference, but I think it does. Well, that's what I wanted to show you guys for today, and I hope you like my videos, and I see you guys next time. Bye!